tonight's headlines, UNESCO to remove Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System from endangered list, Belize launches its National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan, and World Health Organization says tobacco breaks hearts. These stories and more on this week's edition of Belize Now. Thanks for joining us on this Friday, June 1st, 2018. I am Erin Guzman. Earlier this week, a draft decision was published on the World Heritage Center's website notifying that the Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System has now substantially met the indicators for delisting. Belize Now sat down with the Deputy Prime Minister who spoke about this newest accomplishment.
The Belize Barrier Reef is the second largest in the world and the largest in the Western Hemisphere. But for 9 consecutive years, it has been listed on the UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Danger list. By the end of this month, Belize will be removed from this category of vulnerable sites. This is a huge step forward for the country, and the Deputy Prime Minister told us just how significant the change will be.
UNESCO's World Heritage Sites are very prestigious designations, and so these are world treasures, and if we are able to say that this very prized treasure that we have is not only for Belize, it is also something that the rest of the world should be celebrating. And that's what the designation means, and if we're able to put that on to our tourism marketing ventures, this would mean a lot for Belize. A lot more people, of course, want to share in the world treasures. And so this will bring very, very needed business in terms of tourism, which of course is the main industry in this country now that drives many other economic activities as well. So we're expecting to get back to being able to market our country as having one of these very prestigious World Heritage Sites.
Faber also mentioned that it has been an ongoing struggle for us to be removed from the in-danger list. More recently, adequate steps have been taken to address the threats to the reef. He told us about the efforts it took to meet the indicators for delisting.
To get us to the point where we are now, it took a lot of hard work, and some of the notable accomplishments that we made to have the UNESCO folks say you are now fit to get off this list include the fact that we established a moratorium on oil exploration in our maritime areas. That was big for the world, and we are glad in Belize that we could lead in this regard and be an example for other nations of the world who have an ocean front and, of course, are thinking about oil exploration. And then there are those regulations that we made as well to protect mangroves in this country. Very important. They're very important to our ecosystems. And so we were glad to lead in that regard as well. And of course, then also making sure that those portions of land that were government owned and even those that were privately owned, that these lands are now put under the protection of legislation so that they cannot be exploited in any way that fall apart of the World Heritage Site. So the work has been tremendous over the years to get us off that list, and it is only recently that the World Heritage Center has recommended to the World Heritage Committee, that will meet in June, late June of this year in Bahrain, that Belize be lifted off this list, and we expect that that will be done and with much fanfare.
Although the work to delist the Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System began several years ago, the recent success was made possible through the strategic support of the Cabinet, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Minister of Environment, the Minister of Natural Resources, and the 2 line ministries. Belize UNESCO Office, the World Wildlife Fund, and the International Union for Conservation of Nature also gave support during the process. The Deputy Prime Minister expressed gratitude to those involved.
I would like to thank our partners and those who have assisted us in getting to this point. As I've said, it's not only the government's push, There are many, many social partners and NGO partners, people who love the environment. And also I know that in this process we have been cheered on, we've been supported, we've been encouraged by many international entities that love the environment and want to see a green planet or a blue planet as well because of our oceans. And we're very, very happy to have partners like that work with us in Belize. And we're happy that Belize is able to be a pioneer in many of these ventures to help to keep our planet safe.
He further mentioned that even though Belize's barrier reef is about to be removed from the list, the work will continue to ensure its sustainability.
We're very, very pleased with these accomplishments, and of course there's much more to do. Now that we are in good standing, we want to make sure that we remain there and that we never ever again fall short of what is expected of us. But we're confident that with these measures and others that we are working on, that we will continue in good faith to make sure that things go smoothly.
The barrier reef and its various attractions are one of the core foundations for Belize's vibrant tourism industry, and soon it will no longer be listed as in danger of suffering irreversible damage. For Belize Now, I am Janelle Rodriguez.
On Monday, media representatives had a chance to sit down with two National Geographic writers who are in Belize as a part of a new venture to cover the world's 50 best dive travel destinations. Janelle Rodriguez tells us more.
Renowned National Geographic writers Carrie Miller and Chris Taylor are in Belize on a one-week working visit to gather information for National Geographic's first dive travel guidebook. The guidebook will cover the world's 50 best dive travel destinations, including Belize. The pair spoke about what attracted them to our jewel.
I wanted to explore cultural and historical and places of interest. And we came up with this idea for this dive travel guidebook, which is a world first. And we pitched the idea to National Geographic and they loved it. And so we are traveling for 1 year continuously. We started at the end of March this year and we're finishing up in end of March 2019.
The guidebook will feature marine conservation in Belize, itineraries on land and at sea, a wide variety of individual and shared experiences, expert tips on where to go, what to see, and where to stay. Each destination will receive approximately 7 pages of dedicated coverage in the guidebook. Belize will have its own chapter covering accommodation and hotels, travel and activities, diving and snorkeling, restaurants and eateries, historical and cultural points of interest, and conservation initiatives.
What we're doing is promoting Belize as a complete travel destination rather than just the diving part. So I think the Blue Hole is something that nearly every diver in the world already knows about, and most divers obviously already dream about coming to see.
Carrie Miller told us why they chose to explore Belize from more than a diving perspective.
We canvassed a lot of divers and travelers to find out what kind of destinations they would recommend or they were interested in. Belize always came up for divers, hands down. You know, it's already on, it's legendary in dive circles. But what we found out is that most divers said, I wish I'd had more time on land. I wish I'd had more time to explore. I wish I had known about. And so that's why we really wanted to promote, you know, the Blue Hole is something that everybody knows about. But we wanted to promote a different side of Belize and a different personality. And there's different things that you can do, from the rainforest to ruins to culture.
During their stay, the team will visit several premier attractions in the Belize district and southern districts. These include Altanha, Gladden Split, Bokawina, Southwater Key Marine Reserve, the Abyss, Tobacco Key, and Manowar Key, among others. They will also conduct a Garifuna cultural tour in Dangriga. BTB's Marketing and Public Relations Manager noted that the writer's itinerary will ensure they experience the inland and cultural diversity of Belize.
It's important for them to showcase not just the diving aspect, and diving is our top activity, but there's also so much that Belize has to offer in terms of its diversity. They mentioned the inland adventures. So they will also be going to Alton Ha later on today, where they experience our archaeological site. In addition to that, they'll be staying at Bokawina as well, where they'll be doing some zip lining activities. And also, they'll be doing a Garifuna tour. So it's important for us to showcase all diversity of Belize and each component. We've tried to, even though it's 1 week, we've tried to put a lot into the itinerary so that they're able to showcase that for us.
Indeed, our visitors from National Geographic will be able to share some of Belize's diverse natural and cultural features with a global audience. For Belize Now, I am Janelle Rodriguez.
We'll have more stories after the break. Stay with us.
A high school basketball showcase took center stage at the first ever event to take place in the historic state-of-the-art Belize City Civic Center. Thanks to the government of Belize, Belizeans now have a massive modern entertainment and convention facility to be utilized by all sectors of society.
I have gone on record to say as well that Teachers' Day this year, which will come in next month of May, will also be here in the Belize Civic Center. All 5,000, almost 6,000 teachers strong will converge here in the Belize Civic Center for a massive event. There is no other place in this country that can hold the kinds of numbers that the Belize Civic Center can hold.
Government of Belize, moving Belize forward.
When we all come together, Belizeans living at home and Belizeans living abroad, and we use all our resources to get to the top of the highest possible mountain. Congratulations again to all the members of Team Belize. Congratulations to the organizers, to those who put this team together. And before I close, I want to make you one promise. I will find the funds to build a dedicated first-class basketball facility.
The government of Belize, moving Belize forward.
Belize's National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan was launched on May 31st in San Ignacio Town. Our team was there to find out more about the plan.
Belize's 2016-2020 National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan, NBSAP, contains 20 biodiversity targets which have been established for Belize. They will serve as a roadmap in achieving Belize's biodiversity vision and fulfilling its obligations under the Convention of Biological Diversity. Hannah St. Luce Martinez, the project manager who oversaw the updating of the NBSAP, presented the plan at the launch ceremony.
The NBSAP vision is addressed within 5 thematic areas, broken down into measurable targets and actions that provide a strategic focus for collaborative efforts towards the NBSAP implementation. These thematic areas are mainstreaming of biodiversity, reducing direct and indirect pressure on marine, freshwater, and terrestrial ecosystems, protection of biological resources, strengthened provision of ecosystem services and the equitable sharing of benefits derived from its use, and the effective implementation through capacity building, informed strategic decision-making, sustainable finance solutions, and the integration of public-private participation and partnerships.
Although the project is being implemented by the government and its various partners, St. Luce Martinez said that the public is also expected to do their part.
We expect the public to take ownership of biodiversity. Biodiversity touches all our lives. The water that we drink, the air that we inhale, the food that we eat. Biodiversity is not just about exotic species or sexy species such as jaguar. Biodiversity is about the bees. It's about the natural processes that underpins all our lives. And so we would want persons to take ownership, but to accompany us in the implementation of some of these targets, because the benefits of these targets are for all Belizeans.
Minister of State in the Ministry of Fisheries, Forestry, the Environment and Sustainable Development, Honorable Dr. Omar Figueroa, said that the plan is important for Belize, a country that is blessed with natural resources. Therefore, strategies must be implemented to safeguard those resources.
25 years from now, we need to ensure that the younger generation will have this wealth of biodiversity that we have been blessed to have today. And so that is what the National Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan is all about, ensuring that we continue, that as we continue to develop, as we continue to move forward, we maintain and we protect this biodiversity that we have.
The minister said that the input of the different stakeholders is crucial in implementing the plan.
We have the NGOs, we have private sector organizations. I mean, there's a lot of organizations here that depend on the resources that we have. There's a lot of co-management partners that are here with us who help us manage protected areas. So we need to bring everybody to the table.
Several of those organizations were present at the event to share information with the public. We asked a few of the younger attendees what they learned.
When I came, I wasn't that sure of what all is happening in my community, and at the end of the show or the program, I realized that our town council is now doing better stuff for our community, planting trees and making our environment better.
I learned about the Chicabo Forest Reserve, and I learned about where the three outlets are and what type of wood they cut down from each of the places like Chicabo and so on. And I went to another booth that deals with crocodiles. I learned that we shouldn't feed them, and they actually fear humans, but people still go ahead and feed them, and they won't fear us anymore, and they will come closer to us. So.
It's important to protect our environment so the future if from the generations we have, so they can see what is tree, animal. So if they don't have nothing like trees or animals, they don't know what that is and that.
Without the environment, without trees, we would never be here right now, so it's very important.
The event ended with planting of different types of trees around the compound of the Falcon Field complex, which is a part of a tree planting initiative in San Ignacio Town. For Belize Now, I'm Miriam Longsworth.
The 6th National Climate Outlook Forum was held on May 30th. The forum was organized by the Climatology and Climate Services Unit of the National Meteorological Service of Belize. The National Met Service produces seasonal climate outlooks, which can be utilized for addressing climate-related risks at national, local, and community levels. The main objective of the National Climate Outlook Forum was to present the seasonal outlook for the hurricane season from June to November and the 6 to 12 months drought outlook. It also focused on ways to integrate information into sector planning based on its applicability. Chief Meteorologist Catherine Cumberbatch said that the dialogue was focused on how the information can improve productivity of different organizations.
So one of the main things that we will be discussing here is the seasonal outlook forecast for the next 6 months amongst our stakeholders. That will be what we project the seasonal rainfall forecast will be like over the country for the next 6 months, whether we expect the country to be in drought for a certain time, what the temperature will be. So these are some of the products that we will be presented to our stakeholders to get their feedback, to see if what we are really producing, is it really enhancing, and how they will also get feedback from them, how our product can be further enhanced to help them.
Minister of NEMO, Honorable Edmund Castro, said that the forum is especially beneficial for the agricultural sector.
It is very important for them to bond with the Met Department. Without the Met Department giving them the necessary and vital information, they will be unable to plan or plan properly. So forums like this, we bring all the farmers together, we bring the different stakeholders together, and it's very important for the development of the nation. A lot of time, as I said earlier, a lot of times people look at the Met Department as June to November kind of thing, but the Met Department is the one that will be able to determine drought conditions, whether it's in flooding conditions, the amount of rain that might come in the south. Just February of this year, we had been dealing with the flooding situation in the south. So if we could have the Met Department more interact with the farmers, then we could have a more productive sector.
We also heard from the NEMO minister about the organization's preparation for the hurricane season, which starts today, June 1st.
As soon as the hurricane season ended in last year, November 30th, we start to make preparation for the upcoming hurricane season. So we start the training, we start with dealing with the inspections, we try to bring in all the public offices that will man the different stations and hurricane shelters and so on. So NEMO have to be constantly preparing itself for the hurricane season. NEMO is not just for hurricane. If there's a drought, if there's a flooding situation, NEMO is also there.
The forum had participation from over 60 persons from various sectors of the country. Stay tuned for more stories after the break.
Punta Gorda town now has a modern multi-purpose sporting facility thanks to the government of Belize. The brand new complex is double the size of the prior venue, and some of the features include a FIBA certified wooden court with padding underneath, seating capacity for 1,000, changing rooms, locker rooms, and offices. This $3.4 million investment in the town of Punta Gorda is being heralded by the residents of PG.
I feel very excited because this is first time a port like this is built in PG.
This is a big achievement for the town because we have a lot of the youths there where they come out and want to play ball the same way. And this just put up on another level.
A lot of youths can't even wait to play on the new court because it's so official and it's something new to PG, in a whole.
I have to thank the government of Belize because then they look out for PG,
The government of Belize, moving Belize forward.
Residents of Dangriga now have their very own, brand new, modernized, multi-purpose complex, compliments of the government of Belize. This $3.5 million investment in the cultural capital will host sporting events, cultural events, and shows, and can double as a hurricane shelter. Features include seating for 1,000, a fully FIBA certified wooden court, locker rooms with full bathrooms, a stage and changing rooms backstage, concession stands, office space, and ample parking. The government of Belize, moving Belize forward.
On Thursday, May 31st, our Belize Now team joined personnel from the Ministry of Health and the National Drug Abuse Control Council, NDAC, in Belize City for the observation of World No Tobacco Day 2018. Janelle Mencius tells us more about the day.
Do you know tobacco causes over 1 in 10 heart disease deaths, and breathing secondhand smoke causes strokes and heart attacks? No? Well, you are not alone. Hundreds of millions of tobacco users are unaware that tobacco causes heart disease. But now, you do. Protect your heart and choose health, not tobacco.
May 31st has been designated as World No Tobacco Day, and earlier this week on that day, the Ministry of Health through the National Drug Abuse Control Council, NDAC, commemorated the day with an opening ceremony and health fair. NDAC District Coordinator for Cayo, Ms. Tricia Bell, told us why it is important to highlight this day.
Every year, the World Health Organization and its partners embarks on highlighting the various health and other risks associated with tobacco consumption. And the importance of this initiative today is just creating that awareness to the public that secondhand smoke is a big factor. It's not only a big factor in the world, but it's one of the leading causes of deaths. We try to focus on a different topic or a different area of which tobacco affects. And this year, it has to be cardiovascular disease. So we're trying to create that awareness to the public that it's not only about your lungs, your heart is affected as well.
As Bell noted, this year the campaign is focused on tobacco and heart disease and is celebrated under the theme Tobacco Breaks Hearts.
Most people know that using tobacco causes cancer and lung disease, but many people aren't aware that it is associated with causes of heart disease and stroke. Tobacco use and secondhand smoke exposure are also major causes of cardiovascular diseases. That is the heart attacks and strokes, and which contributes to approximately 3 million deaths per year globally. When we say tobacco breaks hearts, we really mean it literally. Smoking destroys our heart. Smoking causes atherosclerosis of the heart, and I mean the blood vessels get narrower, and there are less blood reaching the heart and leading to heart attacks and literally killing the heart.
World Health Organization statistics show that globally, more than 7 million deaths are attributed to the tobacco epidemic, with more than 900,000 non-smokers dying from secondhand smoke. Additionally, tobacco use is the second leading cause of cardiovascular disease after high blood pressure. Minister of State in the Ministry of Health, Honorable Dr. Angel Campos, highlighted stats from a global youth tobacco survey conducted in 2014.
The prevalence of tobacco among students 13 to 15 years is high considering Belize's social settings. Just above 12% currently use any tobacco products. 11.5% currently smoke tobacco. 7.8% currently smoke cigarettes. 2.3% currently use smokeless tobacco, and 6.5% use electronic cigarettes.
In his address, Honorable Campos spoke of the National Tobacco Bill, which he says is in its final stages before enactment. Once passed into law, the document will pave the way for Belize in its efforts to be compliant with the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. Campos highlighted some of the areas the bill will focus on.
The bill will look at the creation of a National Tobacco Control Committee, the protection from exposure to secondhand smoke, regulate advertising, promotion and sponsorship, packaging and labeling, tobacco product sales, regulation of tobacco products and product reporting, protection of tobacco control policies from the commercial and other vested interests of the tobacco industry.
For Belize Now, I am Janelle Mencias.
Belizean-born journalist Evan Paris, along with 3 of his colleagues from CNN, were awarded with the Merriman Smith Award for broadcast reporting by the White House Correspondents Association in April of this year. We got a chance to catch up with Paris, who told us how he feels about his recent accomplishment.
Feels great, especially for me, coming from, my family came from Sartaneja, from very humble roots. You know, my grandfather could barely speak English. You know, he was the last in my family that spoke Maya. He just passed away a few years ago. So for me to come from where I came from to be up on the stage in front of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, obviously President Trump had some other things to do that night and didn't show up, but it was very nice to be recognized by my colleagues, by my peers, and to celebrate the freedom of the press, the idea that I think binds all the democracies in the world, in Belize, in America, everywhere. It's very gratifying, very nice.
So what pushes him to get the job done? Paris said it's his passion to know more.
Never just accept the answer that's being given. There's always more information that I think is good for the public to get, for people to understand, for transparency, for the sake of informing the public. And so that's really what we were doing when we did the story that won the award. It was simply, we wanted to know what was the story behind the story.
Paris said that he believes no one should accept limitations, and that's his message to his fellow Belizeans.
Nobody can tell you what you can and cannot do. It's all from inside, you know. And like I said, my family came from Sardinia. These are people who came over from Yucatan, 3 generations before me. I would never have dreamed necessarily that I could achieve and be at CNN or be part of what I'm doing right now in the United States, but you cannot let anybody tell you you can't do something.
Paris is a CNN justice correspondent based in Washington, D.C. And that's it for this edition of Belize Now. If you want to provide feedback or send in your comments, please feel free to email us at info@pressoffice.gov.bz or visit our Facebook page and let us know what you think. We look forward to hearing from you. Have a great week. Until next time.